Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel Arunodayam Biology. Today we are going to learn about a coordination in case of plants topic from a control and coordination chapter. Coordination in case of plants. So far we are learning about coordination in case of animals, isn't it? So in case of animals, they have nervous system, they have muscular system. So with the help of this nervous system and muscular system, the animals will respond to the stimulus. Okay, with the help of these two systems, the animals will bring all the organs of their body into control, all the organs of their body into coordination. But coming to plants, the plants have neither nervous system nor muscular system for coordination. Isn't it? Plants don't have any brain or spinal cord or nerves, and they don't have muscles also. Then, without nervous system and muscular system, how can they respond to a stimulus? Let me explain. In order to understand this concept, we have to take two examples, touch me not plant and germinating seed. So in case of touch me not plant, if we touch any leaf of it, we can clearly observe that the leaves fold up quickly and they droop. Isn't it? They fold up quickly immediately when we touch them. In case of germinating seed, if we sow a seed in soil and water it, within 2 or 3 days we can observe a seedling. It has roots and stems. Roots always prefer to grow towards soil and stems always grow away from the soil. That means roots grows downward and stems grows in upward direction. Here in both these plants we can observe movements, isn't it? Here the leaves are moving, here the roots and stems are moving, but there is difference between these two movements. There is a difference between these two movements. In the first case, in case of touch me not plant, the movement is very quick in response to touch, isn't it? Immediately when we touch the leaf, quickly the plant responded, quickly the leaves started folding up, isn't it? But in case of germinating seed, the movement is very very slow. It took 2 days for germination, another 2 days for the production of growth of roots and stems. It will take some days, some weeks, some months for the growth of stems and roots, isn't it? So here the growth is here the movement is quick, and here the movement is very very slow in nature. And the movement which we have seen in case of the leaves of touch me not plant is independent of growth. It is nowhere related to its growth. Okay, the folding of leaves when we touch them is just a defensive mechanism. In order to protect themselves from grazing animals, they will fold up. So that movement is nowhere related to their growth. So this movement is independent of growth. Whereas coming to germinating seed, here the movement of roots and stems is completely dependent on growth. Okay, when roots and stems move, that means the plant is growing, isn't it? So here the movement is dependent on growth. If we stop the growth of the seed or growth of the plant, definitely the movements of these roots and stems also stop. Okay, so in case of plants, we can observe two types of movements. The movements which are independent of growth and the movements which are dependent on growth. Let us go deep into this topic. So plants have two types of movements. No, one is independent of growth, another one is dependent on growth. Let us have a discussion about independent of growth movement. Okay, the movement which is independent of growth. So here touch me not plant is there. If we touch the leaves will fold up quickly. Plants neither have nervous system nor muscular system, isn't it? Then how can a plant detect the touch? And how can the leaves respond to the touch? Let us explain about it. So in case of plants, if we observe that touch me not plant, it is apparent that movement happens at a point different from the point of touch. Even though we touch at one point of touch me not plant, the whole leaf, most of the leaves of mimosa, that means touch me not plant, shows a response. Okay, we touch the plant at only one point, but the whole leaf and most of the leaves of touch me not plant shows a response. That means here what happened is the information about touch has been communicated. The information about the touch has passed from one cell to other cell. That means it is communicated. how it has communicated. Plants uses electrical and chemical impulse to convey the information. In case of animals, already we have discussed that information passes in nerve cell in the form of electrical impulse, isn't it? So in case of plants, the information about that touch has passed from one cell to other cell in the form of electrical impulse or chemical impulse. Okay, so plants uses this chemical or electrical impulse for conveying that information from one cell to other cell. So in case of animals, after receiving the information, the muscles shows movement, isn't it? By changing their shape, some special proteins are present in muscles. So because of cellular arrangement, because of new cellular arrangement, the muscles become short, they change their shape and they move. But in case of plants, no such special proteins are present. Then how can the cells change their shape in order to show response, in order to show movement? Just by changing the amount of water in them. So the amount of water present in the cells shows change in the shape. If cells have lot of water, then the cells become swell. Okay, if the cells do not contain more water, the cells become shrink. So here in case of touch me not plant also, when we touch the leaf of that plant, what happened here is the water which is present in the cells of the leaf has moved or drawn back into stem. The cells loses water. So because of that, the cells shrink, and that's why the leaves are folded. So after 20 to 30 minutes, what happens? Again the water from stems moves towards the cells of the leaves. So that means again the cells become swell. That's why the leaves again will come to normal state. So did you understand? So what happens if this is a leaf? The cells present in these leaves contain some water. So when we touch the touch me not plant here, what happens? The water present in these cells will move back into stem. That means the cells are losing water. That's why the cells will shrink. That's why the leaves also folds. After 20 to 30 minutes, what happens? Again the water from stems enters into the cells of the leaves. That means the cells are bulging now. They are swelling now. So slowly they will come to normal state. They will unfold. So this is what happens in case of plant cells. By changing the amount of water, they can change their shape and they can show movement. Okay. So movement of a plant towards touch we have seen now. So now we are going to observe response of the plant or movement of the plant towards the direction of light. For this we have to do one experiment. That means here we have to take a conical flask and fill it with water, put a plant into it, cover its mouth with a wire mesh. Okay, and take this conical flask into a cardboard to which one side is removed. That means that cardboard must have only 3 sides. One open side must be provided to the plant. And next we have to keep this cardboard along with conical flask near a window through which sunlight is falling onto the plant. Okay, so we have to keep this conical flask along with this cardboard near a window so that the stems of the plants will receive the sunlight directly through the window. So after 2 to 3 days, you will notice that the stem bend towards sunlight. So you can clearly observe a bend on the stem of the plant towards sunlight. Now turn this conical flask. Okay, turn this conical flask in such a way that the roots are facing towards sunlight and the stems are facing away from the sunlight. That means the stem of this plant must face towards this side of cardboard. That means it is facing away from the sunlight. So again after some days you can clearly see that stems again bend towards sunlight. Stems again bend towards sunlight and roots move away from the sunlight. Okay, here what happens is in case of plants, 2 types of movements takes place. Movements towards the stimulus and movements away from the stimulus. Here the stimulus is sunlight. So here the stems are showing movement towards the stimulus. Isn't it? They are bending towards sunlight. Those type of movements are called as tropic movements. Okay, and the roots are growing away from the sunlight. Even though we change the direction of the conical flask, still the roots are growing away from the sunlight. That means they are growing, showing movement against the stimulus, against the direction of the stimulus. Okay. There are five types of tropic movements in plants: thigmotropism, phototropism, hydrotropism, chemotropism, geotropism. Thigmotropism means movement of a plant part towards touch. Towards touch is called thigmotropism. Okay. Say for example, climbing of a tendril towards its support. That is an example of thigmotropism. Okay. Phototropism, that means a movement of stems towards light, which we have seen in our earlier example. Next, hydrotropism, movement of a plant part towards water is called hydrotropism. This we can observe in aquatic plants. Next, chemotropism, that means movement of a plant part towards a chemical substance. This we can observe in a stigma of a flower. So when pollen grain falls onto the stigma, the chemical substance which is present on the stigma will be absorbed by that pollen grain, and they start producing pollen tube, which is main for the formation of zygote. That means which is main for the reproduction. So this particular topic we are going to discuss in our next chapter, that is reproduction lesson. Okay, chemotropism means response of a plant part towards chemical substance. That means example, a pollen grain absorbing the chemical substance present on the stigma and producing a pollen tube for germination. Okay, next, geotropism, movement of a plant part towards gravitational force. For example, the roots of a plant. So these are the five types of tropic movements takes place in plants. Okay, so that is coordination in case of plants. Of course, we have some more portion also to discuss, but I'm stopping this explanation here. We are going to discuss the remaining portion in our part 2 video. Okay, if you have any doubts, please ask me in comment section. I will clarify your doubts. So in this video we have started the particular topic, coordination in case of plants, and we have learnt so much about coordination in case of plants, and remaining portion we will discuss in our next part. Okay, if you find this video is useful for you, please like this video and subscribe our channel. Thank you so much for watching. Jai Hind.